Good afternoon. This is the Delaware County. This is the Delaware County Interactive Gaming Revenue Authority meeting for December 19th, 2024, 2:00 p.m. I call the meeting to order. Please join me and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I'll have a roll call by our esteemed Secretary, Ronald Evans.
So I see Andrew's here, I'm here, Paul's here, Francis is here, and our solicitor Frank Daly's here. Is Vincent
He
absent?
may or may not be coming. He's tied up with some other things. I'm not sure yet. He may join us remotely. And we may have a guest on Zoom as well, or. All right, at this time. Okay. At this time, all of you should have received the agenda. We did provide the agenda available online and posted and available in the clerk's office. 2 p.m. on Tuesday, which is more than the 24 hours advance notice. And all of the authority members should have received the agenda as well. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for this meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carried. Also, like I said, the agenda was available more than the 24 hours in advance as required by law. At this time, I will open up to the public, either online or in person, for any comments concerning the agenda. Seeing none, we'll proceed. Everyone should have received, the authority members should have received the minutes of the November 2024 DeSigra meeting by our secretary shortly after our meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the November 2024 DeSigra meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. All right, at this time, I will turn over the floor to our treasurer for our treasurer's report.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, so I'll be giving a treasurer's report for the month of November. All right, our statement beginning balance was $730,068.93. There were payments in the amount of $10,222.48. Those payments can be seen inside of the report that I sent out. We had deposits and credits in the amount of $1,233.90. And there are $9,000 worth of checks that was uncleared as of the date this report was printed. Paul, I know you did have a question about Chester's check. It did clear from last meeting. And our registered balance as of the last day of the month was $712,080.35.
I think you mean 721,000.
As you were, yep. That was the registered balance, not the statement balance. My apologies. I read the wrong number. Yep. Statement ending balance is $721,080.35. All righty. So I make a motion to approve the December 2024 treasurer's report. All right. Questions to the motion?
I just want to make a comment. So I think there were two public safety entities in the city of Chester, and you said one of them cleared. I'll have to double check, but if it was the police department, maybe the fire department, their check hasn't cleared, or vice versa. So we will double check that. I just want to make that comment.
I see the City of Chester Police Department 2,500 cleared. I don't
Yes.
see an uncleared check other than Alden Borough Police Department from back in September and Sharon Hill Arts and Culture in November.
Yep.
Okay.
Pretty
So
recent.
we only have two uncleared checks. Are we following up on the
Okay. So
Alden Borough?
Alden Borough, they have received a physical check because their check was lost. We actually had to
Rewrite that check. Yeah.
I will follow up with Sharon Hill Art and Culture.
For what it's worth, so that's only been That check was written on November 19th. It hasn't even been a month. So I don't think we're out of the time frame
Sharon
for that
Hill,
right now.
I
for
agree.
Sharon, yeah.
I agree.
All right, so hearing no other questions to the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve the payment of invoice 1008 in the amount of $1,250 to Majan Technologies. Questions to the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I make a motion to approve payment of invoice 83425 in the amount of $1,490 to Brinker Simpson.
So
Motion.
second.
All right, questions to the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I make a motion to approve the payment of invoice 10040 in the amount of $431 to Course Vector and to add ADA compatibility to the SIGRA's website.
Second.
Second, questions to the motion?
Zach.
I do have some comments.
Yeah.
on that.
Okay, so you want me to answer her question before comment, or you wanted to answer
Do
it?
you have it? You want me to- I have some information.
You probably can explain it better than me, but I do have a general idea of it, yes.
All right, so, looking at my notes here. So we discussed at a previous meeting about adding ADA migration to the website to make it more accessible to, people with, disabilities. And this is the cost to, add that functionality to the website. There is some pending, requirements that are coming up shortly for government entities to have this on here, and we would be proactive in that effort. And I believe that cost would be a additional annual cost. So we have some credits for the regular hosting and other services concerning the website, but this would be an additional cost, and it's good for 1 year. You don't have anything else?
No, that covered it. And Course Vector is the entity that we were using in addition to Majan to handle our internet services. That's the only.
I think we need a vote.
All right, so hearing no more questions. Yep. Yeah, hearing no more questions. Everybody in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Did anyone second?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was second.
Mhm.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Next, I make a motion to add ACH payment authorization / access to Brinker Simpson in order to make payments for grantees and vendors on behalf of the SIGRA with a dual authorization process from the SIGRA's chair and treasurer via email. All right, the motion has been made and second. Questions to the motion?
Do you feel you really need to have that double authorization?
So the reason why we decided on that is because we have the 2 signatures already. So the double email would just be that it would be a control, so that way Donna can see that we're both on board before she
Yeah.
makes it.
I guess my only question would be, usually you only have dual authorization above a certain dollar amount. You already have the authorization of Brinker. So to add the treasurer, to have the treasurer be the sole authorization, say below $5,000, I just question whether or not you really need 2 on top of Brinker for a $2,500 grant.
I understand what you're saying. We're essentially replicating our dual authorization for the checks to do the electronic audit. So, for example, the way I envision this is, once we get the confirmation from the county, they usually send me
Right.
an email from the clerk or from the solicitor. I would send that to the treasurer, which would include my authorization.
Okay,
He would have his authorization forwarded to Brinker Simpson.
got it. So you
the
automatically,
transactions.
you're giving the
Absolutely.
authorization in the process you already have. Okay,
Right. And we have a paper trail of two
Board members approving it.
Got it.
Yep. And then Donna doesn't go in and draft any ACH unless she sees both of those email
Got it.
chains from us.
okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Any more questions to the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed, motion carries. Next, I think that was the last motion. Now we have a discussion of requesting grantees to pick up their grant check rather than mail if they opt to receive check. Location to be determined.
Want me to talk about that? Or I could start the conversation.
So, yeah, I don't mind starting. So the issue that we've been running in is Paul is doing a tremendous job making sure everybody gets their checks. But it takes a lot of time and he's burning a lot of gas. So we've been thinking like if we can implement a process to where we can just have grantees come pick the check up, it will relieve that duty from non-paid board members.
We've had some issues where, especially, you know, we recently introduced this ACH option and a lot of the grantees in the last batch opted for that, which is fantastic.
Of
But we
course.
still have about a handful. So for example, Alden, we sent the check. They don't have record of getting the check. So then I had to go back to Andrew's office. He had to fill out another check. I had to sign, he had to sign it, I had to sign it. I took it back to my house. And then someone from Alden met me at my house to get the check. Whereas if we provide the option to those that are receiving the checks, that they don't have to wait for the mail, they can opt to come to a location. We're thinking of potentially Andrew's office.
Yeah, and that
Or would Brinker allow that?
Or would the foundation allow that?
No, that doesn't make sense. We don't have anything to do with the financial oversight, but.
Brinker just may
Brinker's
be a
right
little,
there
yeah.
At the intersection of 1 and
But I'm
252.
also thinking of where his office is accessible for public transportation, for more inclusivity of all of our grantees. If they don't- if they
Is your
don't-
office in Chester?
It is in Chester and is right in the downtown area of Chester, like
there's-
literally right around the corner from the transportation center and everything.
So
We have a parking lot for parking.
And he's writing the
It's up
checks.
to you, but he's not writing the checks anymore. Brinker is.
We have the-
So why are-
Brinker will be doing the ACHs. If there's somebody who,
Why aren't they writing the checks? Why aren't they?
We write the checks and then we send them.
we bring them to Brinker. Yeah, Brinker has never written them. They've never, like, I've always been in possession of the checks. We had never given Brinker access to the checks.
They can't sign.
Right.
We don't have them.
Well, whatever is easiest for you.
So why are people saying, I don't want ACH, I want a real check? Paper check.
So great question, Ron. I'm thinking archaic processes. That really is the
Yeah,
only
have a
thing
bank
that,
account, right? That's all I need, right?
for sure, yeah. I think that ACH is the best option, but I don't know that we have the ability to force it.
We may have different cultural ideologies about the ACH, even though it's simpler, but there may be some grantees
Yeah, they don't
that
trust it.
operate in that.
So, yeah, I mean, if they don't want to do ACH, I mean, I don't mind making them, putting a little inconvenience for them in place to have to come pick
Well,
up
we're
a check.
providing them the option. We can mail it, but if they want the check in hand, they can come pick it up.
I don't understand how checks get disappeared.
So the mail is not a great system. I didn't realize how bad it was until I got into my current role. So we receive about 40% of our payments via mail. Even certified mail that requires signature, it's a broken system. Like I gotta go in and specifically request if there's any certified mail. And if I don't, then my certified mail from my organization will sit there and then they'll send it back. And they don't have any process. It's supposed to be a slip put in my PO box to inform me that we have certified mail. Doesn't happen.
Okay.
So the USPS postal system by and large is broken.
It's
So-
so funny because you can sign up for this service where you can see all the
Right.
mail that's being delivered to you that day. I mean, they,
Chester Post Office.
Is not offering that to people,
Really?
really.
And I
That's
also
not a
think-
service that I have available to
and I
opt into.
also think that there's some
no.
there's some checks that are lost internally within organizations as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure, yeah.
And the
Okay.
last piece on how it's an inconvenience for the organization, every time those checks get lost, I have to do a stop payment and there's a fee associated to that.
Mhm.
So we're losing.
So this is a discussion item, Mr. Solicitor. Do we need a motion at another meeting or is this more of a process issue?
I don't think you can actually pass a motion on just a discussion.
Correct. But I'm saying, do we need, since this is a process.
Do we need a motion?
Can they just do it?
Next meeting? Or can we, since this is a process that we're providing this option, we can just have this as part of our operations?
I think the second one.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Any questions or any objections? So
All right.
we'll provide this as an option to, the grantees.
Okay. So it's,
You can go to the next one.
yep. So just an update on grant agreements not received or grant payments not mailed as of December 18th. Donna did not respond back saying that anything was not mailed. Did you remember seeing anything, Paul?
So the only grant agreements that may not have been received are the ones from the what did we just do?
Right.
Food security.
Food security.
Food security and a handful of the special grants because they just got that list earlier this week. Right.
But nothing outstanding, right? Everything that's pending is current.
Yes.
Okay.
So did you go before council and get those approved?
I went before council on Tuesday and they
Oh,
did
good.
it as part of their
Consent agenda.
consent agenda on Wednesday. And I
Okay.
received a letter from the solicitor, I think
Oh.
Friday
Okay.
or Monday, and our consultant, the Jane Technologies helped to create a list to combine everything to send it to.
That's this list, right?
Well, no, it's a more abbreviated list of just
Oh.
the pending grantees.
Okay,
Yeah, because otherwise
okay.
he had access to it and he was able to send it, so that made my life a lot easier.
And then just last thing, discussion of the SIGRA Historical Grant Award List. Chair has asked Yassine to compile a list for Majan and or of course Vector to post all or part on the website based on our discussion.
I'll start this discussion. So we've had some meetings and we kind of got into a lot of activity really fast. 4 years or 5 years goes by fast. And we haven't really been compiling. We've just been receiving grants, passing them, but we didn't have a centralized list. So we have a consultant who's pulled the minutes from the website, looked at all the grants that we
Wow.
approved and started this process. I know that there were still a few glitches in there that or some holes. I may have those from my agendas and we'll fill those up. But this is something that several of our members have been asking for, so we can see it in historical basis as well as the amount. We can show the impact of our grant making. So I hope this is in agreement with everyone. And once we kind of get to a finalized format, we can provide it to Course Vector. We do have a credit with them and are more than willing to post this on the website in the appropriate area. So I did want to at least wanted to start the discussion and see if there's any feedback from anyone. But
So-
hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not even.
Well, I can tell you because I
Total.
played with the spreadsheet, reorganizing it and kind of, just prettying it up, and it's just over 1.5 million.
Okay.
Now, does this include the Tuesday night approvals?
No.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
Okay, so there's a few steps
Because they haven't
adding,
been paid yet.
oh, so it's not the date of the grant approval, it's the date of the grant.
Well, I
back.
guess it is the date of the grant approval, but he wouldn't have those. Yeah, let me rephrase it. It is the date of the grant approval based on the minutes. So obviously we just approved. So I don't know the.
No,
the-
I thought your date was the date that the council approved the grants.
Yeah, that makes more sense, right?
I
I
think
bet it's the day of the minutes.
I think it was
Day of the
I think
meeting.
it was the day of the SIGRA's. approval.
Minutes?
The SIGRA, yeah, the SIGRA minutes.
Wasn't that by design, like it bakes in, like we don't approve the minutes until afterwards
Correct. So
anyway,
they're
right?
not-
So that's the later date
The
anyway.
November minutes aren't on the website yet. Does that make sense? The November minutes are not on the website because we just now approved. Right.
So that's why it wouldn't be included in that number.
Oh, I
The
see.
same
The
as the
minutes
proposed
haven't been approved.
Right.
Right. The
Yeah.
grants were approved by us, but the minutes weren't
Right.
approved.
And by
Okay.
county council.
Okay. I think you need to figure out exactly what you want this date to be so we're consistent. So there's like a key at the bottom that says, what does the approval
that
date mean?
Okay.
I personally think it should be the date that council approves the grant, because theoretically,
Right, that's when it
yeah.
becomes real.
That's when it's released.
Yeah,
Hopefully it'll be released.
so that's just my thought.
Internal process,
I
right?
would
So it's, yeah,
Not make it your check date.
right, right.
Yeah, that doesn't need to be.
Right, because that's like the latest date.
So,
No, it wasn't,
I
but
didn't see
when
that.
you say, when you say grant date, I wouldn't make it the check date or the ACH, whatever.
I don't even think we need the actual day of the week. It could just be the month that was approved.
You
Like
could,
by
yeah,
county
if you, yeah, you could do that, just the month.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, Yassine has gone through the minutes. Getting the date of the county approval would be a
We're
whole
gonna have
other
to go back
process.
to, yeah, that's gonna be a little bit more challenging because I haven't, since we started, I haven't consistently received those letters from the county.
Okay.
approving.
But if you added in the folks that were approved in November, this would become the list of everybody who was given a grant from 2022 through 2024.
Correct.
And then we can start afresh with all the grants that are added in 2025, et cetera. And you can actually post, I mean, because he's done this in Excel, you can do it in order of the organizations, you can do it by grant category, you can do it by year.
If
You
he-
can have 3 or 4 different spreadsheets up there that make it really
if
easy
we,
for people to
I'm
follow.
wondering if we post it as a shared link that's just readable, it may be able to be. Once it's, the link is on there, it could be theoretically updated as we.
Yeah,
On an ongoing basis.
Sure.
Recurring basis.
sure. That's a little above my pay grade. Yeah,
So is everyone fine with the fields? So it's the organization type, the grant category,
the
the
amount,
grant amount, and a date. That
Right.
date may change from a weekday date or a specific date to more of a month date. So it
Yeah.
might be May 2024 instead of the actual date that county council.
That would be ideal even, because then the county council meeting fluctuates, right? Like it's not, so yeah, month would always be ideal because then we know.
It
Well-
could be the first, it could be the second Wednesday, or it could be the fourth Wednesday of the month.
But as long as it's in that calendar month, that keeps us legit. It keeps everything accurate. Nobody's confused.
And those grantees were essentially paid within, most of the time, within 30 days of that month or something.
The only time we're gonna have a little bit longer of that is this month because we had that time waiting on ACH setup, which is set up now.
Yeah.
So,
well, if he will do 3 things, number 1, clean up the dates. Number 2, add the November approved grants.
What
And-
about December approved grants?
Well, December won't have been approved by council.
You're talking about the grants that we approved
No, it's
today? They're not approved by council until we go to council, so we're not gonna put them on the list yet. We're waiting. After county council approves them, that's when we'll go on to the list and the website.
Right. The
Yeah.
plan is to update this monthly as they get
Yeah.
approved.
Yeah, as we occur. If we can, if it's
Yeah.
possible.
And then the third thing, besides adding the Novembers and cleaning up the dates, however you want them to be, month or whatever, can he clean up and get rid of the dates after each organization title?
Yeah, that's redundant. It's kind of weird.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess when they were put into, somehow they got, maybe he was,
I don't know, maybe it's a shortcut for him then.
Yeah,
maybe he-
exactly.
Maybe he cut and pasted and he added that to the.
yeah, and unfortunately, it's kind of,
Well, that's why we're doing this.
there's a lot of them, so it's
Yeah,
kind
that's
of a
fine.
bit of work for him. And then if he does all that and he wants to send it back to me and I can pretty it up or create a PDF with a title or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to be PDF if we're adding it as a link, a read-only link.
Well, that's the question. I mean, for this first 3 years, do we just make it a document that's up online or, I mean, I'll do whatever he wants.
If it's I think if we,
And if it's a link, and maybe I don't need to do anything with it. That's fine with me.
if it's a link. I'll have to talk to him, because if it's a link, like, if we'll share a link that's just read only. Then on the back end, we can update it, but then when you're physically looking at the website and you click on the link, you can see the whole history.
That's fine,
Rather
with
than
me, yeah.
downloading a
PDF.
that's gonna be.
I'm totally
That's
fine with not
change
doing a
every time,
single
right?
thing to
Yeah.
it. Seriously, I mean that.
And any other? We want to talk about the ACH delay.
So we can, yeah. So the reason why we had the long delay for the ACH is, yeah. So this whole process with TD Bank has been like a very pull method process, right? Nothing occurs until I reach out to them to follow up. And every time I've reached out to follow up, I've gotten different stories from different people. Now I am able to come to a firmer understanding now. So now that we're at the end of the process and I can see it, there's 3 different entities. So we have the regular online banking, which we're enrolled in right now. Then TD has a business center logon. That business center logon is what houses another operation called eTreasury. eTreasury is what we transitioned our account to be able to access all of the things, the reports that we were supposed to be able to access, the fee neutral accounts, the ability to do ACH payments and also set up any other kind of credit card payments and drafts. Those all occur on eTreasury. There's an eTreasury team, there's a business central team, and there's an online banking team. All 3 of them are 3 different entities and they all have 3 different processes and information. So every person that I spoke to gave me the proper information for their entity without understanding that we were transitioning. So now that I'm on the other end and I can see everything, I can understand now why there were so many different moving parts. We had a salesperson who was responsible for putting us in the process of the Business Central integration. Then there was another clerk who specializes in eTreasury. And until they all communicated and gave their part, I was confused. Now we're no longer confused. And although I would love to verbally lash TD Bank and put on how it was a very poor process overall, I really do understand why it was so confusing now because nobody knew. We had no clue that there was 3 different entities that didn't communicate with each other, that all had to work together to bring us to the ending part. So we're here now. Paul, you'll also have to log in. There's another process that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to get a soft key to have access to the Business Central. And then the other portion is you're going to have to log in. And after you get your soft key, you're going to have to apply to become an administrator on the new eTreasury side. So I'll work with you. Yeah. So,
And then we
so
have
that,
to add Brinker.
and then, well, so I'll add Brinker in the meanwhile, so that way we don't slow the process because I've already done it. It's completed now. So I'll go in, I'll add Brinker, and then I'll work with you to get set up so that way we can have it.
And so what happened is, I want to thank Brinker Simpson for responding back to our grantees. You know, we applied for the ACH, whereas the money essentially was basically what they were asking.
No,
And they were able to respond, and then we followed up and responded to make them assured. But essentially what happened is I had access before our treasurer had access, and I actually had to do the transaction. So I did 4 batches. I didn't know they were gonna cost $10 each, but I was able to condense them down into 4 batches instead. Ideally, since he's more of an expert, he could have done it at 1 and spent $10, but we spent $40 on these batches. But I did the transactions on last Wednesday and they were all paid Friday the 13th. So everyone that was waiting for their money, they have their money electronically.
And I was able to see that this morning when I got in the eTreasury. There's one last thing I want to give for information. I sent out an email to you guys. It's still in reference to TD. They charged us fees for the month of October and November. The fees were erroneously charged. They were not supposed to. We are fee neutral based on our balances. The email that I sent out was from Tim Canfield, who's like the director or the vice president of all of the overall operations. They apologized that we were supposed to have a ECR, which is like a credit rate. It was supposed to be a 1.0, which makes us fee neutral, but it was a 1.2, which is why it generated a fee. They assured us that the rate has been updated in the system and that they're going to process the refunds for the 2 months. It only totals about $70. It's not a significant amount of money at all.
What about the $40?
We're not gonna get that money back. That fee for batching ACHs, that's consistent. The reason why it was 40 versus 10 is because Paul had, okay.
I understand, but why are we paying that fee if we're supposed to be fee neutral?
Oh, got it. We're fee neutral for monthly services, not the ACHs. I'll find out exactly why we pay for ACHs. I'm
Why
not
do
sure.
we have to do 4? So in other words, we can do, okay, but we can do just one.
We can do them in one batch.
So in other words, that's the case for us, minimizing the number of, I mean, it's only $10, but still, we're gonna do
Yes,
Council
minimize the amount of
approves a bunch
batches.
Grants, we're gonna batch them all into one $10 batch, okay.
Yes, so realistically, we'd only have about $50 worth of ACH fees per calendar year. Provided that we can plan and get them all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we don't do a grant every month.
Correct.
I could see it being more than that. I could
Yeah.
see it being even 8 batches.
right. But I mean, even if we wouldn't, if we ended up doing a batch every month, that's still only $120 a year.
Absolutely.
Right.
From Paul's point of view, he's doing something, he does a handful, then he has to do something else, so he puts in a batch, then
Right.
does a few more. I mean,
Understand. I mean, it's
It's
ridiculous
tedious, yeah.
that he should even be doing any of
It was
this.
6 or 7 of them. And then the other thing is,
Hmm.
so what I had to do is Brinker has, it's complicated. Brinker has the grant agreement, and on each grant agreement, they have the account information for each recipient. So I had to go to 20 or 25 different documents to look at this account information and then load it into
Yeah.
into the system, when Brinker has it right there at their disposal. So this will help with that, because they can do it right as,
So they're gonna handle that.
yeah, and we may have to talk
Going
to
forward,
to
yes,
do just one batch a month rather
Right.
than
rather than
wait
30.
until they
right.
get each one.
Which that should be easy enough to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did CC Donna on that email I sent out with the fees. So that way when those fees come in reversed and she gets them in QuickBooks Online,
Okay.
she knows what they are.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions for our treasurer? Thank you for everything. All right, at this time, I'll turn it over to our solicitor.
No legal matters to report other than, but the next motion is going to be for meetings next year. I do want to comment. I looked at the list of grantees. That is a very impressive list.
Isn't it though?
It's unbelievable.
It's hard flies, doesn't it?
Well, that too. It's a long list also.
A lot of great groups on there.
Yeah.
I did want to ask a question. We've started to get a couple of letters, and Ron has helped me out, from grantees, auditors. Is that your phone?
Not me.
Um,
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe coming from my coat.
Yeah.
So, I did respond
I'm listening.
and, Ron responded.
It is me, sorry.
That's all right.
I did see the response.
So a response from any member, or does it have to be an officer of the authority? Is that sufficient for them?
It will be sufficient for the auditors because they're just confirming the information that they've been told by the organization.
Okay,
The verifications.
yes.
Yeah.
And I did pop you in on one of them because they did ask about state and county funds, and we're a unique situation because of the authority, so it's kind of hard to answer that question. So they may get back to you if they need more clarification.
I did see the letter. I saw, obviously I was copied and I'm glad to respond to anything that we get.
Thank you. Any other questions for the solicitor? Moving on to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? Moving on to new business. All of you should have received the 2025 meeting dates, including the reorganization meeting with the start times at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know there was some question before about that time and the dates, but this is what we have for now. So there are 11 meeting dates, no meeting in June. I did make a note that April 17th is Maundy Thursday and also in the middle of Passover for that specific meeting.
So, when you, come to the reorganization meeting, could you, refresh everybody's memory, how long they have on the remainder of their terms?
Somebody should be up this year.
Are you asking me to do that at the meeting?
Or you can
Are you
list it
asking
on
me
the
to pick up the whole
agenda.
baskets, or-
No, I don't remember when my term is over. And I think we all, in the process of reorganization, should be thinking about, okay, I only have 2 more years, I only have 1 more year, like who is up?
Can I get a meeting? Can I get an email and send that out to you?
Of course, of course, of course, of course. But who is up for renewal out of the
My
five of
term
us
expires,
in December?
yeah, this month.
Have you asked to renew your membership?
It was submitted, so we'll see what happens.
For what period? What is the amount of the
They're
term?
all 5 years.
They're all 5 years.
The initial ones were staggered, the subsequent ones are 5 years.
Okay, it would just help, I think, for all of us to know when is our 5 years up and,
And then
we
we
should-
the.
yeah.
I don't know if I realized it was 5 years and not 4. Not a problem,
Yeah.
but I just think. I don't think-
And if you're planning on changing officers, can you actually have that on the agenda rather than just coming to the meeting and saying what you want?
It's called a reorganization meeting, which means that's when you elect the officers.
That's a year.
Right,
That's in the
but,
bylaw.
but wouldn't, so we would just come to the meeting and Paul would tell us what he is proposing? It
Well,
wouldn't
we-
be actually on the
we nominate
agenda?
Oh, no, it's
No,
nominations.
It's nominations. So that's why I stand there. and it's
Got it.
short
And
breath.
I've actually turned the meeting over to our solicitor, as a.
Got it,
Entity to.
Got it.
Conduct that portion of the meeting.
got it, thank you.
All right, so do I have a motion to approve the 2025 meeting dates, including the reorganization meeting with start times at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time?
So moved.
Second,
Any questions or comments? Additional questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Do I have a motion to authorize the solicitor to advertise the 2025 meeting dates? So,
moved.
Second.
any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Do I have a motion to increase the 2024 food security and household security grants allocation from $175,000 to $180,220 to fund 16 grants subject to county council approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah, so the first 15 grants, did you bring them to council already?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
And Mr. Solicitor, can I withdraw the line subject to county council approval? Or would I have to reintroduce the motion? Because this is
Yeah, that-
internal budgetary.
Right, this is not a grant to any specific person.
So can I withdraw the subject to county council approval?
Yes, I believe you can.
Do I need a, second for that?
Well, somebody made the motion that included it. Would they, whoever made the motion, accept a friendly amendment?
Make the motion.
I don't know.
I think
thought
you made it.
did.
Yes, I will accept, subject to county council approval. Do
And
have a second?
I was the second and I'm fine with that and I'll second the
Okay.
amendment, the motion with the friendly amendment.
Oh, no, I made that motion. Cause I said that was the last one where I said so moved. I didn't second that.
Okay, so are you open to removing the subject to county council approval? And you've already said you
Yes,
approve that.
I says, and I am seconding the motion, the revised motion.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Is that proper, Mr. Solicitor?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Trying
I
to
think
figure out
it
who
is.
just called me.
I think it is.
It's
I think it was pretty basic, Frank.
It's pretty much an internal procedure.
Yes, I would agree with that.
All right, do I have a motion to approve a grant of $15,000 to Health Educated Incorporated for a 2024 food security and household security grant?
So
Subject to
moved.
county council approval.
So moved.
Second,
Questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve special grant of $25,000 to the Foundation for Delaware County as part of their 2025 Delco Gives campaign, subject to county council approval?
So moved.
second, second.
Comment. So there were a few categories for consideration. However, I don't know if we'll vote on that category in the future, but for this purposes, we're not going to vote on that category now. So we're just making the grant. Any other questions or comments?
I do have a comment. So in your motion, when you spoke it, you said 25,000. It's written as 20,000.
I revised it.
Oh, so I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I think I need to recuse myself,
That-
even though it
Great.
technically isn't for the foundation. The check is written to us, so.
And does that need to be,
It's not written to you personally.
Right.
But I think it is better form, your
head
of the organization.
is that the same as an abstention or recruit or
Re-
separate? Different.
extension.
Okay, so does she have to provide something to the secretary at a later date?
Yes.
So
You have to give the reason why you.
just send an email to Ron saying that you're abstaining.
To the
Just for problem.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No problem. Any other questions? Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Motion to approve special grant of $25,000 to Be Proud Foundation, subject to county council approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. At this time, we will open the meeting to public comment, if there's any public comment online or in the audience. Seeing none, we'll move on to authority comments. Are there any comments from members of the authority?
I just want to say it's been a great year. This has been a good learning experience. I think this makes my next month after the reorganization will make my complete year here. I've learned a lot so far and I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Any other authority comments?
Thank you to Paul for his service and leadership.
Yeah, so I don't know what the outcome will be in January, but I want to thank all the members of the authority and our partners and our consultants, including our solicitor, Frank Daly, who's been here from the start. If I'm not here next month, I just want to thank all the members again, including our past members, Stefan Roots and Dorian Story. If I am here, that's great. And I don't know what role I'll be here if I am here, but it's been a great collaborative effort and I really appreciate it. All right, at this time, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Second,
Second.
questions or comments? All those in favor, meeting adjourned. Did you hear me anyway?
Oh.
He's still-
Yeah, I noticed that. He didn't complain, so maybe between Francis and my microphone, you're fine.
Okay, cool. Thank you.